Hey, you're gonna wake the others.
So, since this wonderful, lovely video recently hit an insane amount of views, I thought it would be a perfect time to dig up some more painful evidence that I had no friends as a kid. I'm joking, but the star of this video is Nightblaze, aka the blue and white hero Tom from the previous video that snatched Bloodflame out of midair with his cat-like reflexes and strong muscles that he spontaneously grew. I felt that since Bloodflame got this lovely makeover, it was only fair to do her mate justice and give him the redesign that he deserves. So this one's going to be slightly shorter than the previous one because I don't exactly have as much information to go off of as I did for Bloodflame. He was just kind of there as a secondary character to be basically her mate, and that's it. Nightblaze simply started as an epic cat adopt number 9, described as a white Tom with blue and black smudged markings. I'm going to start by saying that this character has absolutely no personality or backstory written. It's just a weird mash of ideas that were insane, even for a series about talking cats that sometimes have superpowers. His parents were never elaborated on. He really didn't get a backstory. He just got a present story. I didn't even clarify what age he was for some reason, but we do know that he had a brother who, for some reason, formed a love triangle with him and Bloodflame. I'm, for everybody's sanity, choosing to not elaborate on this one because I have no explanation. He was also only ever seen drawn with Bloodflame. He was never just a standalone character in a picture. He never got his own moment of fame, and most of his work was base edits. I think out of every single Warrior Cats OC that I have ever made, he was probably the one who was the most out there. He was kind of the tip of the iceberg in terms of character development, and you'll see why as we go into this wonderful story. The night air felt crisp as Nightblaze padded over to the edge of camp. He couldn't sleep knowing Bloodflame was out looking for her parents, Cloudfur and Shadowstrike, who had gone missing a few days prior. He was greeted by their deputy, Rustfur. "Heading out for a bit?" Rustfur blinked at Nightblaze. Nightblaze simply nodded. He shouldered past the red Tom and walked along a path for a long time. His mate had been gone for 3 days, and he didn't know if he could take it anymore. He was worried sick. Fear grabbed at his chest like an icy claw. Lost in thought, he suddenly came up on a cliff. He heard a scream that sounded so painful, he could feel the cry of death in the voice. Looking down, he saw his mate standing in front of what seemed to be 2 mangled cat bodies. "Bloodflame!" he called out, leaping from rock to rock down the cliff with tears forming. He already knew what happened. "Are you—" He stopped close to the bottom of the cliff. Then he smelled it. Smoke. Fire. His words caught in his throat and he didn't know what to say. Bloodflame turned back with an enraged expression. "BloodClan did this!" she screeched and spat. "They're setting our territory on fire because they think Bloodstrike is a traitor!" She could hardly breathe through her sobbing. "We have to stop them," Nightblaze said, puffing out his chest. He was shaking, but angry too. "Just leave me here with my parents to go die and get everybody back to safety. You can't!" Bloodflame wailed and cried and sunk her claws deep into the grass. The flames were coming faster and faster, closing in on Bloodflame. His blood ran cold and he jumped in to save her. Suddenly the flames formed a circle around them. The flame started turning blue and the heat was less intense, the more and more he wished to save his mate. He then realized that he was controlling the fire. But why was it blue? Now that the painful part is over, let's get into his redesign. I really wish I had more old funny stuff to give you guys, but honestly he was kind of a one and done character. He didn't have anything extra to go with him. So his original design needed a lot of work. Not only was the neon blue on top of the white super distracting, it was also very basic in terms of pattern. I kind of had a tendency of putting gradient markings on my characters' legs, ears, tails. I totally don't do that still, but hush. The first thing to go was his fluffy, edgy emo hair. There goes his one defining feature besides being partially blind. But I did stick with his base for color being white. Instead of it being a super bright paper white though, it's more of a muted warm gray. And finally I decided he would be based on the pattern of a Siamese or snowshoe cat. I took all of the blue out of his markings and decided to just keep them as gray-black, just so it keeps that original gradient, but it's not, you know, crazy unrealistic. And in the original, he had the this little circle on his shoulder and I decided to turn that into little berry stains. So now he's a well-rounded boy. I also decided to change his backstory just a little bit, nothing crazy, but his brother Snowpatch ends up being the medicine cat apprentice of Ripple Clan and not in a shared relationship with his brother's mate. Sorry, I still don't know why I did that. It's kind of... And instead of being partially blind, he has bad vision in general. In turn, his sense of smell becomes heightened, though. He can no longer control fire either, nor does it turn blue when he wishes really hard to save someone.